Let's break down the Western Conference a little bit further as we look at the top 4 teams there. Vegas has the top 4 as the Clippers, Lakers, Rockets, and Warriors, followed by the Nuggets and Jazz. You have the Lakers, Clippers, Rockets, and Denver Nuggets as your top 4. I have the Rockets, Lakers, Clippers, so same 3.
Right.
And then the only difference I have is the Warriors on the back end. And yet, when I was looking at your list, I'm like, oh, crap, I can't believe I left off the Denver Nuggets, who were the second seed in the West this past year, had a really nice season. I'm like, man, how did I leave them off? But I wasn't willing to put off the Warriors just yet. Why are you not high on the Warriors?
I just don't know what that's going to look like. My gut says Steph is going to come back and be ridiculous this year and potentially win another MVP. That lineup doesn't do much for me.
Right.
D'Angelo Russell, I think he's a nice player. I don't know that he's a substitute for Klay Thompson. There is no replacement for KD in there. And they've played a certain way with KD over the last, 3 or 4 years now?
Yeah.
That takes some time to get back in the rhythm and the flow of playing without him, not to mention playing without Klay for months and months on end. They could wind up being there. I just don't know what that's going to look like. And Denver is one of those teams that is coming back the exact same way that they came back last year, plus Michael Porter Jr.,
right?
Who, I don't know what he's going to look like, but theoretically, he's got a year worth of working in an NBA environment with skill development guys. Like, he could be a plug-and-play type of piece that can ISO, and he's like 6'9". That's a nice piece to add to that Denver lineup.
Yep.
So I'd probably put a little more stock in them.
I don't think they'll be one of the top 4 seeds,
right.
But I think there'll be one of the team that might be one of the top last 4 standing. Because I do think when Klay comes back, that's going to be a massive difference. I don't think he's going to drop off as much. And this 3 with Draymond, him, and Steph have been pretty impressive before. It's going to be tough. It's going to be competitive. But I have a little bit more faith in them. And I think Steph is going to have a big year. Although they are a trendy pick for, I've seen some other analysts say, hey, they're going to miss the playoffs entirely.
Well, it's valid. Like, if Klay comes back, I don't know where he is in his rehab. But how that's a long time to keep a window wide open and be vying for championships. There's got to be some fatigue that creeps in. I guess you could make the case that they caught their injury bug last year, so maybe it doesn't bite them this year. But it's hard to keep riding into finals appearances the way they have. No one's really ever done it except like Michael and LeBron,
right?
That,
Right. Before we give our picks, a surprise team. You can go either good or bad. Who would you go with for the Western Conference?
My surprise team is going to be Portland, and I think that's going to be bad. I think Joey and I kind of agree on this one. Look, those 2 guards are fantastic. They kept what I guess they perceive as their core with CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard, Zach Collins, Yusuf Nurkic. You throw Rodney Hood in there. So that's you've kept some pieces, but I don't love the additions. Like, I don't know what Hassan Whiteside is going to do in that offense.
Right.
Kent Bazemore's okay. Nas Little's rookie. That's not really helping you. Anthony Tolliver, long in the tooth now, very role player-ish. Mario Hezonja and Paul Gasol, who does he use a cane to play at this point? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think they were a bit of an overachieving team the last couple years. I think they have a little bit of a backslide this year. I don't love that you had a team that did as much as they did last year and you get rid of all of your supporting cast. Like, that's a rare thing to see happen.
Right.
You usually tinker around the edges. They basically got rid of the whole bench and got a new one. And I don't know that it translates back into the success they had last year.
Right.
Yeah, Raj, I do agree, and I think part of why I like the Rockets so much this year is part of why I hate the Blazers so much. The Warriors are gone. Like, they're going to be fine. The Warriors will be okay, but they're not the Warriors that beat you in the Western Conference Finals last year, and you turned over your whole roster other than your main guys. We don't know what Nurkic is going to be when he comes back, so you're going to be playing Hassan Whiteside a lot, and we know being down in South Florida what Hassan Whiteside gets you.
Yeah, good luck with that. There was a reason Hassan was where he was. I'm with you, Joe. Look, when we were on here, Danny, right after the season ended, and we were like, trying to figure out what Houston was going to do.
Yep.
I said, stay pat. Just stand pat.
Yeah.
Like, the Warriors are going to lose Kevin Durant. Like, Klay's hurt. Your window is still right now. Now, I didn't foresee obviously if you get a swing at Westbrook, you take it. But I would have recommended for anyone that was right there and had a chance to get over the hump last year, don't just completely get rid of your whole roster.
All right, my surprise team is going to be good because I'm more optimistic than everybody around here who wants to trash Portland. I'm going to go with New Orleans. I'm going to go with the Pelicans. I think, you remember when the Lakers were stripped down and they were looking at the roster and they only had a picture of LeBron and Anthony Davis, like who else is going to be on this team? And Kuzma?
Yes.
This team has almost as much turnover when you look at, because of that trade, they received a lot of those players in the Lakers who are good young talent. You throw in Zion, you got JJ Redick. Like, I think this roster is pretty good where you could see them make the playoffs in the back end of the season, a very competitive Western Conference. I think this could be a surprise team. Of course, it's going to be hurt a little bit by Zion, but I don't think that we're going to rely on Zion to be carrying a large part of that workload early. I'm banking on him, of course, getting back sooner rather than later and hopefully being the type of impact player we all think he can do. We're going to do our rookie year picks. I'm curious to see if you switched yours because I think we might have been on the same page and find out exactly where you stand. Who do you have winning the Western Conference?
Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of toss-up-ish, but ultimately I go with the best duo. That's provided they're healthy, but I like LeBron. I like AD. You know, they have a supporting cast, so to speak. I would have really liked it if they had Boogie even more, but I'm going to take the Lakers at the end of the day. I think LeBron reinvigorated emotionally, mentally, and physically. I think he's going to be really good this year, and he's got something to prove.
All right. I like that pick. I think it's a little chalky. So it's one of the top two. I'm looking for a little bit more value.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets. I'll give you my philosophy because I think you're going to see this crop up on both my conference winners. I'm a big believer in chemistry, like in locker room, on court, guys that get along. I think Chris Paul was, I don't know, he's a mercurial guy. Like he's a little bit, you either like him or leave him. And I don't know if James Harden exactly loved playing with Chris Paul. There was some contentious, some huddles on the sideline. I think Russell Westbrook, he's going to really enjoy playing with. The relationship goes back. I think Mike D'Antoni's going to figure out how to utilize some of these weapons. I think for the Rockets, maybe that was the piece they needed to put them over the edge.
That's not a bad pick. I think the Rockets, like their ceiling can be really high. Here's what, for the Rockets, you got to hope. That when you come out at the beginning of this season, things are going well.
Right.
And it's translating into wins.
Right.
And you don't have one player sitting there saying, man, if I had the ball, this would be going a different way, right? You want this to be a relatively seamless transition into 1A and 1B. You don't want to be having people in game 22 vying for the 1A title.
Right. And I think they'll figure that out early on. I think they will.